Good morning.
Hello, everybody.
Self-check-in.
Good morning.
And then we have the access for the slides.
Okay.
Give it a couple more minutes.
Yeah, let's do like one more.
Okay.
We're getting pretty close to what our registration said.
Okay. Hi, Kelly.
Good morning.
Good to see you again, Kelly.
You too.
No, Heidi, this is not just for AVID teachers. This is for any secondary teachers. But thank you for asking. So we're just going to share some AVID resources that are available to all teachers. All right, I'd say we can probably go ahead and get started.
All right. So we're going to start with a little quick check-in. So in the chat, if you could use the sheep scale and tell us, how are you feeling today? I can't see the chat.
Oh. So we have a wide range. Yeah, pretty much all of them are getting covered. We're all in different places.
I'm feeling kind of 5 and 3.
Yeah, I think I would be the same, kind of 5 and 3.
4, Megan. Oh, she doesn't have chat. Okay.
Oh.
I do.
Click on, if you don't see it, click on more at the bottom. Does it pop up there?
All right, so this was just a fun way that we thought we could share for checking in with your students about how they're feeling, and there's all sorts of these scales to be found. And we attach this later on in the slideshow as well.
All right, so we'll introduce ourselves real quick. So I am Leah Molson. I am a 6th grade humanities teacher and AVID coordinator at Mountain View Middle School.
And I'm Bethany Revis, and I am also a 6th grade humanities teacher, just coming off of 6th grade math. I've kind of taught everything. And also 6th grade AVID. This is my 4th year in AVID.
You want to introduce your sidekick?
Oh yeah, this is Ellie. She's decided to be my little parrot today.
All right, so we're going to do another activity. Okay, if you would, let's see, let me put this in the chat. We're going to do an answer garden.
And we didn't do an agenda slide, so our plan is to show you a couple of activities and then give you a little bit of time in some breakout rooms to talk about things that worked for you in the spring, and then come back and share them, and then we'll walk you through the rest of the slideshow, which is really just resources for you to use.
Okay, so if you would go to the answer garden, I just put the link in the chat. And if you want to pull that up, and then you're just going to answer the question. And then you can watch as our answers fill in. And you may need to hit refresh to make it, to kind of see it change. And if you notice it, when you hover over the word or the answer, it'll tell you how many people put that one over it. And notice they get, oh, the link didn't open? Oh. Okay. I apologize. I'm not sure why some people are able to get in and some are not. Bethany, do you want to show it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it up, and that way people can see what it looks like.
Maybe I want to show.
Try if you copy and paste it instead of just clicking on it, see if that works. I would say I'm using a Chromebook as well, and I was able to get into it. So
I am so in on the being outside.
Awesome. So this is just a cool way that you can ask your kids questions. So it can be used as a check-in. It can be used as like a formative assessment. Lots of different ways to just get some ideas generated from your students. And it's super easy to set up. You just go to answergarden.ch, put in your question, and then it'll give you a link that you can send out to your kids or staff if you want to use it with staff. So it's just a quick little activity that you can do. It's good for, it would be great for like as kids are coming in to your Zoom classes. So to have them kind of work on that, have something to see, kind of see where they are compared to their peers.
And then the next thing that we wanted to share with you, let me go back to presenting, maybe. Oh, in technology, there we go. Okay, so this is called Summer by Numbers. So I put together my summer by the numbers. 16 Zoom meetings I participated in. The amount of times I put on makeup has been a little bit less than that because every once in a while it's not happening. The number of pieces of new clothing that I bought because I like to shop in stressful times. So with this, you can change the color of the numbers. You just click on the numbers to change the numbers, and then click on the item to change that. And then there's also the nounproject.com, which is linked down at the bottom, that will give you all those little icons. And it has you set up or it looks like you have to set up an account in order to use the icons, but you don't. You just right click and copy them over as well. So you can customize this. And then because we know that asking kids to share about their summer can be hard for some of our students, we also made an alternative, which is just a quick like meet, but whoops, me by the numbers. So Leah put together one with the number of homes that she lived in, how many years she lived in Oregon. She likes to make cards, so she put that as one of her numbers. But again, it's customizable in terms of colors that you use using the Adobe Color Wheel. We also thought that you could use this in any content area for checking in. So we wanted to kind of give you guys a minute to share how you might use this in your classroom. Any ideas?
So this is just called Summer by the Numbers, and we have it linked in the later on in the slideshow. And it is something that you could push out to them through Canvas. You could give them a template that they could fill out. You could give them yours and they could just make a copy. You can do it to where they each get their own copy and then they can just change the information that you had on yours to make it fit for them.
Mm-hmm. We also kind of thought you could make it content related by like using numbers that you see in a book. You could relate it, if you're a PE teacher, you could relate it to number of sit-ups or miles or at the end of a quarter.
Yeah, great. So we've got some ideas of using it in place of the find someone who, use it as an icebreaker so kids can kind of share some things about themselves.
That's a great idea. I like that. And things in common.
Yeah, and I want to try it with content. I think it'd be fun to use it with, you know, talking about a character and kind of doing a little character analysis with it. Yes, we will. I'll go back in and re-put the link to the slides in our check-in.
Okay. So we are going to move you into some breakout rooms, and we're just going to randomly assign you some breakout rooms. We'll put, how many do we have? 27 people in here. So we'll do breakout rooms of 3-ish. I taught math. I'm just not coming quick right now. When you're in your groups, just kind of share out what activities worked well for you during the getting to not know your kids better. We are going to link our Jamboard. So if you would share some ideas on the Jamboard, and then we'll come back in, and if you have ideas that you want to bring back to the whole group. If you have ideas you want to bring back to the whole group, that would be great. And then we'll go through the rest of the slide deck. Welcome back.
Excellent. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So hopefully you got some great ideas from people, had some time to play around with breakout rooms. And I know it's something like this has been really good for us to do some presenting and kind of play around with things. So I highly recommend that you maybe get a group of your teacher friends together and practice. And like you can rotate each person being the host and breaking people out into breakout rooms and doing that just so you're much more comfortable with it, because it's definitely a learning curve. But we know school is all about being flexible and doing that. So on our Padlet, I'm seeing some awesome ideas that people have shared. You will have access to this Padlet, so I highly recommend that you go back and look at that and kind of see some things that people have written. And if you want to add more things, you are welcome to do that as well. Does anybody want to share out? You can either unmute yourself or you can share it in the chat. What is one thing that you heard that you're like, yes, I definitely want to do this? So feel free to type that in the chat or unmute yourself.
Ed Puzzle is amazing, Megan. It's so good. And Heidi, I'm glad that you got a feel. I had never been in a breakout room until these PDs as well, and it was fun to see, be able to feel, be in there.
I thought the Jamboard itself was kind of fun. This is Denise.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling my group that I'd used it in an NGSS training, and we were making diagrams, and we were split into our breakout groups. And so just like we would with our table group in our classroom, we created the diagram and the labels and everything on it. And then when we came back, we got to look at everybody's diagrams with the labels on it. I mean, that's exactly what we do in the classroom. So it felt really exciting to me to know that that was something that I could do virtually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great way to do a gallery walk kind of thing that we would normally do.
Yeah.
And you can have 20 boards made, so 20 slides. So if you have a group, maybe you have, most of us don't have classes of 20. We're more than that. You could just make two slides, two Jamboards, and share those with the kids, and you can just assign them like group numbers, and so that's their slide that they're going to use.
That's
and
what we did. It was fun.
So that's something that I've done because I was in a really large group for AVID XP training, and we had 100 people in our group. So we had multiple boards, but we could then go in everybody's board. So that was a really cool thing. You can even you can do templates, so you can copy the boards over. So maybe you want to give them a diagram that they're going to fill in. I've seen that done with like Frere models for vocabulary, or just, anything. If you got a science diagram that you want them to go through, you can put that on one and then just copy it over to all. You can duplicate the boards. So it's a fun thing to play around with that you can definitely use for getting to know you, building community, but as well as content area.
I love that you can give like groups of students a different slide in the Jamboard. I think that's a really neat way of doing that.
Yeah.
And it allows the kids time to talk with one another without me being there or the whole entire group being there. I think they're really shy. At least my kids are really shy about talking online like that. So it allowed them to make some connections with each other.
Mm-hmm. And it's awesome because I know one thing that people are really worried about with breakout rooms is you're not in there. And so you're not sure what's going on. So it was great for us as the instructors to be able to see what you were doing on each slide. And so I can see who's commenting, who's participating, and especially if you've got kids broken out onto their slides, you can jump into those rooms where you see that like not a lot of things are getting put on to their board. And so you know which rooms to go into. So it's just like circulating in your room. When you would walk from group to group, you're kind of doing the same thing by just looking at the Jamboards and seeing where people are with that.
So I haven't actually done the Jamboard where I'm the teacher yet. So your view, do you have a bunch of panes of our breakout groups, and in each one of those panes it shows our screen, our shared screen? Or
no, it's just it's the
like?
Same thing is what you see, so I can just scroll through the different boards.
Oh, you're just scrolling through the boards.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So awesome. Lots of cool ideas.
I just had a recommendation with Jamboard, just kind of from a student perspective. When we had gone into the breakout rooms and pulled up the Jamboard, I kept thinking like, now what were the directions again? And so it might be good to have like the first slide be the directions.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah. We realized we sent them out and didn't really explain it super well. So just, we get better and better every time. Unfortunately, this is the only time we're doing it.
Yeah.
All right. So we wanted to go through and show you what we created was a slideshow of resources. And just like the Jamboards, it's been broken down into getting to know you and checking in and things like that. So I'm going to share my screen again, and then Leo will walk you through the layout, and then you'll have access to all of these slides. So if you're like, oh, I need a getting to know you activity, you can pull from there.
Yeah, so either if you have the slides pulled up, you can see it, or you can kind of look through what Bethany has shared on the screen. So we have 7 topics. We added in the eBinders piece, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And then at the bottom is a resource links folder. So if you just want to download the whole folder into your Google Drive, you can do that. So that brings you, we put all of the links just on one thing. So, so they're all in there, as well as there is a page that has all of the web links on there. So some people, when we did a AVID training last week, people were like, oh, instead of having all of, they like having the links on the board or on the slideshow when you're looking for something specific, but just to be able to have, it's nice to have that organization piece already done for you. So you can, if you click on that resource links folder, it'll bring you straight to that. And so you can download that. So if you want to go to the next slide. Okay. So each one starts with a little intro, and then we broke it up into ideas and then resources. So the first page or 2 or 3 in some cases are just lists of ideas that you could do. And then as you go through that, perfect. And then there's the resource link. So those are there. So the summer by the numbers is that 3rd link on there. I know people were talking about the Bitmoji lockers or the virtual lockers. So we do have links to 2 of those on there. That is a fun one. It's definitely one that I want to do with my group this year. And so there's lots of different resources on here. And if you want to add to this, because this is going to be a live document, just email one of us. And if you come up with something or come across something that you're like, oh my gosh, this is so great, and it would be awesome to add to this resource, that way everything's in one spot, just go ahead and email us the link. And maybe, if you want to give a little description of what it is, and then we'll totally put that in there. So you can keep checking back for different ideas. So Bethany, if you want to go, so we do the same thing with the attendance with Flair.
Social check-ins, ways to celebrate, feedback and reflections. You want me to go down?
I want to go down to the eBinders, and we'll just talk a little, since we hadn't really talked about that. So one of the things that people were trying to figure out is how are they going to keep their kids organized, because normally, like in middle school, we all require binders. A lot of the high schools, especially at like 9th and 10th grade, are doing binders. And so the fact that kids are starting virtually and they're not really going to have paper to organize, we have some resources for you if you want to do an eBinder or a notebook. So if you've seen, some people may have seen some things that are posted online. There are some great resources that you can do, but it just really helps kids keep everything organized. You can also just have them, like you can ask them to show you like their Google Drive, and you can show them different ways to organize your Google Drive for that. So we are on slide 33 now is the resources, so it's towards the end. So what we've shared with you is a group, the first few first few links on the resources page are just some, they're from AVID, because AVID is a big proponent of the eBinders. And so there's some templates on there that you can use. There are ways to show you how to do digital note taking and focus notes. And then there's just some extra things that AVID open access resources. This is something that they put together in the spring, and they're continuing to add to it. Every 2 weeks, there are new things that are added. And it's just a great collection of little like 5 to 15 minute reads or sets of links that you can use on a variety of topics. They have a back to school toolkit. And so that's where, so Ashley, we're on slide 33 is where you can find that. Okay. And then the last one for the notebook templates is Slides Mania is a really cool, it's a teacher who puts together these awesome, like I've always used it for slide decks to find things, but she put together notebooks. So they have tabs already built in, so you can customize it to fit. So if you want to do like a interactive notebook digitally, I know a lot of our science teachers do INBs, and so they wanted to use those. So that's definitely a great resource.
And then finally, we found a couple of really good articles and blog posts about teaching in a socially distant world and building relationships virtually. And so we just added a couple of those here to this Want to Read More page. Again, if you see something, if you come across something in the next couple of weeks that you think, oh, that definitely needs to go into the resources, shoot us an email and we would love to add it.
Oh, that's good to know that Seesaw works as an eBinder. That's awesome.
I'm going to stop screen sharing.
Yeah. Okay. So basically you have, hopefully you find that a good resource with lots of links and things to kind of keep you busy for the next couple of weeks going through them. I had fun kind of looking through all my Facebook posts, and because I joined a ton of different Facebook groups, and so pulled a lot of information from there. So if you've got questions on anything, let us know. If you want to stick around and ask some questions, you're welcome to do that. But we really appreciate you coming and hanging out with us for this morning. Bethany, you want to go to the last slide?
I clicked off, but yes, I
will.
Oh,
you clicked off. Never mind. Okay.
But I can go back and share it.
Okay. So yeah, the last slide just has our names on it, and you can email us at any time. And again, I put the resource links folder on there as well. And this slideshow is one of the Slides Mania templates that we used. And it was just a fun one to kind of make it look like a notebook. She's even got all the little highlighter things that you can use to add to your stuff. So that was a lot of fun playing around with that.
Notebook one is kind of hard if you feel, if things aren't lining up, like on the line in the notebook pages.
Yes, played a lot with spacing.
Yep.
Yes. All right, you guys are so welcome. Thank you for working through all of our tech things with us. So it's definitely everybody. I think that's my word for this year anyway. I think I was had a little premonition was grace, but I think it's definitely something that we all need to extend to each other and have for ourselves, because we're going into the unknown in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, so hopefully you find this helpful and give us feedback. So definitely let us know what works and how things are going.